This year, it's time. It's time for you to catch your first bass. I already know. Problem is, you probably feel a little bit overwhelmed how you can figure out exactly how you can do that. Some things that's probably coming to your mind right now are, what rod should I use? What line should I use? Most importantly, what's going to be a simple lure that I could buy that's going to get this job done? I got it for you. There's one simple bait that you can use that'll put the first bass in the boat or on the bank or in your kayak, whatever you fish out of. Today I'm fishing with Ray Brunetti. He's a sub within my straight up fishing community. And today he's on a charge. He's trying to catch his first ever fish on a shaky head. Now, my goal is to clearly, very simply, teach Ray the best retrieves, the best baits, and the best areas to fish a shaky head. This is simple. Anybody can do it. If you'd like to fish with me, or you'd like to learn how to catch your first bass, join my app. It's called the Straight Up Fishing School.
Today we're out here doing a little bit of spring fishing, and we like to keep it simple in the spring. Everything in your tackle box catches fish in the spring, so it's real easy for you to overcomplicate everything and start doing a bunch of fancy stuff, start hitting your dad in the top of the head with a jerk bait, which I'm terribly worried about right now. But I like to keep it simple. And today we're gonna keep it simple with just a plain old shaky head. And so Ray is a part of the Straight Up Fishing app. The app is just where we teach people how to fish. And what I wanna do today is show Ray how to catch a bass on a shaky head. Now, right now on this particular lake, I think a shaky head outperforms a wacky rig 10 to 1. A lot of people say, oh, wacky rig, that's the cool new trendy bait. Shaky heads have been around for a while. This is one of my signature series, Shaky Head. I think you've used it before. But the reason it's gonna work better in this situation, fish are spawning right now. But more importantly, they're spawning on this particular lake because it's clear, down deeper, 8, 10, 12 foot. Sometimes as deep as 15 foot, depending on how clear your lake is. So the fact that the shaky head goes down, gets to where the fish are actually at faster, is going to let you catch more fish because you're more efficient. So that's why we want to throw that instead of a wacky rig. Could you catch a fish on a wacky rig right now? 100%. 1000% sure you could catch one on a wacky rig. But with the shaky head, it gets to them faster. With the wacky rig, I throw it out there and it just takes so long to get to them. I waste time. With this, throw it out there, bloop, just right to them, pick up the bass real fast. So we're throwing a 3/16 ounce shaky head. This is my signature one. The Z-Man SMH shaky head. It's my signature. It comes in 2 colors. I think the green and the black. Pick a color. It don't matter. That ain't really the poison here. Then we're throwing my signature series SMH worms. This guy right here. All right. Very simple. A lot of times I do trim this guy back a little bit, because it honestly just throws better if it's trimmed out a little bit. That's what it looks like when we get it on there, just like that. I bury the hook in the plastic. I don't Texpose, I don't neck expose, I don't South Carolina expose, or none of that. Buried in the plastic. Elastic's really, really soft, so you don't have to do any of that fancy stuff. Now what we're gonna do is tie a Palomar knot to our spinning rod. I think Ray was talking about putting it on bait caster. I tried to talk him out of that and he was willing to do that. I like a spinning rod for a shaky head. You don't pull the bait as much. I feel like it's easier to keep it on the bottom with a spinning rod. Can you catch fish with it on a bait caster? 1000%. But today we're just going to use Palomar knot on spinning rod. What pound test is this, Ray?
15.
That's perfect. Anything between 8 to 15 pound test is good. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to go around. We're going to show you where to fish it, how to retrieve it, what you should be looking for if you were trying to catch some of these fish in the spring on a shaky head. It's easy, it's simple. There ain't nowhere in the country that this doesn't work. I don't throw it in Florida that much where you live just because there's so much grass, but you can catch fish on it in Florida, all the way up to New York, all the way as far west as Washington, California. That rig that I just tied up will work. I'll show you how to fish it, Ray. Okay, first thing I want to go over is how we're going to retrieve this thing. We're going to talk about several things. Where we're going to cast it. We're going to talk about where we're going to cast it, what the bites feel like. First thing I want to talk about is just how to retrieve it. So you got your shaky head on. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be targeting these little areas that my dad calls them dark lines. You can see there's a little dark spot right there. You can see how you see all that orange, this shallow area, and then you see like a little dark spot. Well, we want to fish these little dark spots. And the biggest thing with this shaky head, especially this time of the year, is you want to make sure that your bait stays on the bottom. One thing I watch people do all the time, they throw out the shaky head and they're working it so fast and they're talking and they're doing it, they're just not conscious of what the bait is doing. The biggest thing you want to do is make sure this thing stays on the bottom. It's called a shaky head. So it's going to be, for some reason, especially with a spinning rod, you see how I'm working that bait, I'm just shaky. You have a tendency to just want to do that a lot. You don't need to do that much. Even though it's called a shaky head, you don't need to impart a whole bunch of action on it. In fact, one of the best things you can do when you cast it out, watch this, what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cast out that little dark spot right there and watch this. First thing I'm gonna do is abso-freaking-lutely nothing. Just for a second. Just let the thing sink on slack line for a second. I always say get you a pack of Marlboro Lights, get you a sandwich, get you a dip, whatever you like to do, whatever your vex is, do that just for a second. Even if it's shallow water, just let it sink and let it set for a second. Once I let it set, it's on the bottom. Yes, you can shake it just like what I'm doing right now. Just shake it. And I don't mean don't go crazy like this. Just a little bit of, and let it sink back to the bottom. It's really important once you shake it. Once you shake the bait like what I'm doing now, there's some fish schooling there on that point. Once you shake it, it's important just to let it go back down to the bottom. I'm gonna see if I can throw yours out there, see if you can catch one. We got a few fish schooling on this point. You know, a little breakdown here. It wouldn't hurt to go ahead and catch one. So you're gonna throw it out there, you let it set, hit the bottom. When you go to shake it, when you go to move it, when you go to do whatever your thing is, even if it's to drag it or slide it, I like to call it sliding a shaky head. We're gonna do that here in a second. Make sure you give it time to get back down to the bottom. Because what happens a lot of times, people pull, never let it get back to the bottom. They pull, and before you know it, your bait has come off 6, 7, 8 foot off the bottom. You'll get less bites. I don't want to say you're not going to get any bites, but you're definitely going to get less bites that way. So you notice I'll shake it. I got a bite. I got a bite. He's coming to get in your stuff, ain't he, Ray? I don't know if you're going to be able to. Not a big one. But you notice how I was talking to y'all right there, and that's when that fish got it. When I went to pick it back up, he already had it in his mouth. And so Ray's throwing the SMH worm, I'm throwing a big TRD, but I'm still throwing the Z-Man Shaky Head, that signature series Shaky Head on there. And so that's the bait there. If you can see it, 3/16. My son always has to do the throwback for me. Go ahead and throw him back. But you notice that fish bit that bait as it was sitting there still. And so it's really important. The reason he bit it there still, it didn't really have anything to do with they want it still. You're letting it go back to the bottom. And by accident, I kind of did that just because of the fact that I was talking to you and I'm semi-distracted trying to teach. So remember that as you're fishing it. When you go to move it like what I'm doing now, just make sure it stays, give it time to get back down to the bottom. It is a light bait, so it does take a little bit of time for it to get back down to the bottom. So just you're doing it just like you're doing it, Ray. Just bop, 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 and you see how you left that slack in the line? That's how you get it to sink back down to where it needs to be. That's perfect. Yep, shake, 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 let it go back down to the bottom. As it's going back to the bottom, just pay attention to that line, because a lot of times you'll see that strike. When he goes to bite it, when you let it back down to the bottom, you'll see it, you'll see the line tick a little bit. Just like what you're doing there. Bop, 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 and let it go back down to the bottom. Bottom contact is everything when you're fishing the shaky head. It is, I don't want to say you won't catch them with it not on the bottom, but it's pretty doggone unlikely. Pretty unlikely. Sometimes you'll catch them, you'll get a bite or two on the fall when you make that initial cast. And most of the time is when that bait is on the bottom, 90% of the time. I'm gonna throw it out here. I'm gonna let it sink. Move the boat out. You have it?
Nah.
Hey, Ray ready for him. He say, hey, let me get some, my boy. Ray said, let me get some of that too, my boy. This next retrieve, I like to call it a slide. It's really nothing but a pull. So throw my bait out. I don't care what any of these retrieves we're talking about. The best thing to do, like I said, is just throw it out, let it sit there for a second. Throw it out, let it hit the bottom. Let it just be for just a moment. Just a moment. Don't have to be long, just a moment. I don't like to give it a second, a number. But just give it a moment to be on the bottom. Okay, this is what I call a slide. So, and you can do this. I like to do it with my rod tip down towards the water a little bit. And you're just gonna pull it like that. You're not doing anything crazy, just pulling it on the bottom. Just a pull. But just like with the shake, how we talked about making sure that you give it time to get back down to the bottom. When you pull a bait, it does rise off the bottom. And you got to give it time to get back down. So when I pull like that, rise, let it hit the bottom. The reason this is important, there's gonna be times where this is a light bait. There's gonna be times when you wanna fish this in the wind. When you're fishing a bait like this in the wind, and if I'm fishing in the wind, especially with braided line, having that line up in the air like that, it's just gonna allow the wind to manipulate the bait more. I won't be able to keep it in the bottom. I won't be able to feel it. But when I hold my rod tip down, I keep it out of the wind. As long as the line is encapsulated by water, it's not affected by the wind as much. And so it just allows me to have a better feel and to keep the bait down better. So that's a time where I might like to use the slide, as I call it. And then some days they just don't want it very active. They may not want to shake. And so I do the slide where I just pull it on the bottom. Pull, let it just flow back down. Pull it, let it go back down. And at some point you're gonna pull like that and you're gonna feel that doop doop. When you feel the doop doop, you know you got it. So I'd say just cast it out there. Just cast it out about as far, I like to cast it just right about where you can't see the bottom. I won't cast it up in the dark spots up there, but just right about where you can't see the bottom. And in the light spot I meant, not too shallow. Right about where you can't see the bottom. And then the rod tip down. Even if you need to come this way over here by me, that's fine. Just pull it on the bottom and let it go back down. Pull it, let it go back down. Real simple. Don't feel fancy enough there. Feel like, man, I'm a pro. I'm supposed to do something real cool and special. Less is more. Less is more. And I just want to focus on those two retrieves. There's a lot of other stuff you could do with a shaky head, but I think starting off is really, really important to keep it simple and do something that you can do over and over and over. There you go. That's it, Ray. That's it. That was fast. That took all of 5 minutes to get you ready for that. That took him about 5 minutes. Easy. Easy peasy.
That's it, brother.
That's easy. See, simple stuff.
Line twist.
Simple tackle, that's it. That's all you gotta do. Hey, simple tackle.
Get that fist bump.
He got it. Simple tackle. That's all you need. Just a shaky head, a straight tail worm. Show him that one. That's a good 1.5 1.75 pound fish.
Pretty. Nice and clean.
Yeah.
I can't believe how clean these fish are.
Yeah, of course they are. Not as clean as that technique you used. So it looked like you were doing more of a slide there, just kind of pulling more than you did shaking. What were you doing on that retrieve?
Both.
Both?
Yep. Shook, shake, shake. Let it sit. Little drag.
A little drag. Shake, shake, shake.
Let it sit. Maybe another. Like jerk. Change it up. Switch it a little bit.
Perfect. So you can see how easy that is. That's Ray. Is that the first time you throw a shaky head here this week? Probably throwing it. Yeah. First time you throw it, 5 minutes, he already caught his first fish. Super easy. Anybody can use it, especially in the spring. Now, he's got the retrieve down. Let's kind of go into where you want to cast, what you want to be looking for on your home lake so you can catch fish on shaky head. We need to talk about where to cast the bait. You know how to retrieve it at this point. You know all those particulars, but where are you going to cast it? Now, Ray just caught that fish in a very, very predictable spot. We're fishing a point right here. I'm right here behind you, Ray. You good? We're fishing a point right here, and you can see there's some little dark spots here. All he did was cast to these dark spots that you see on this point. And all those dark spots they can be a combination of a lot of different things. On this lake, there's no grass, very few laydowns. It'd be hard to find laydowns in this whole creek. So what are the fish going to use to spawn? Almost always bass like to spawn beside something, beside a point, beside a stump, beside a dock piling, beside something, a rock. Well, on this lake you don't have a lot of that, so what are they going to use to be beside? Ray picked up on this pretty quickly. He threw up here on this point on a dark spot. And those dark spots just give the fish, they feel protected there. It's not even anything, it's nothing, it's not grass, it's literally like algae or something on the bottom. It's just a different type of dirt is all it is, it's darker. Now, I bet there's something, if you could dig further into it, you probably could find out that maybe that type of dirt is better for the fry, or it gives the eggs some kind of nutrient that makes them hatch better. I don't know. All I know is the bass use it, and that's all that matters to me. So, what he's doing, if you look, George, you can scan out to this point here. All he's doing is casting up here where you can see right on those dark spots. Some of these right here are actually rocks, but a lot of them are just algae or some type of bottom composition change. When you cast that bait to there, the first thing you want to do is just let it set there. My pops called it fishing dark lines. That's an easy way if you're fishing during the spring, and this works anywhere from Florida, North Carolina, all the way up to up north. Just casting to dark spots that you see on the bottom is a great place for you to start if you're fishing a shaky head. So this spring, you're fishing shallow, even pre-spawn fishing, but certainly when the fish move to where they're spawning, look for those bottom inconsistencies like what Ray just did. Cast your shaky head up there, let it set for a second before you do anything. Throw it up there. I don't like to give people numbers because you just complicate things even more. Just for a moment, let the bait sit. When you go to pick up that line, you see how Ray just did? You found one, give it to wood. Ray going to work on them today. Yeah. He's going to work today. Good job. And that one like he came out a little bit deeper than on the dark spot like he caught the last one, right? Yeah.
Till today, I had no confidence in the shaky head. We're at number 4.
4 on the shaky head so far, and one on the jerkbait. Is that right? Yeah. Good job, man.